Here's the greenhouse I've been working on at Fanny's fruit farm. What I did was address the overheating condition that was happening within the greenhouse. She's growing strawberries right now. And there will be an additional exhaust or circulating fan on the opposite end once they arrive. So what I did was run a service to it, just a little 30 amp 220 volt service with a time clock which controls the water pumps on the cooling walls, as well as two handoff auto switches that control the exhaust fans on each of the gable ends of the building. And the auto condition is tied to a thermostat, so they come on when the temperature reaches about 85 or 90 degrees. And then the action of those exhaust fans, with everything else closed up, draw air through these wet walls. So they're basically swamp coolers that are 5 feet by 3 feet in diameter, or dimensions, length and width. And each one has a ball valve that allows you to control the water flow or isolate it, turn it off if you need to. Temperature on this wall right now, as you can see, over 90 degrees. It would be about 105 without the cooling system that's in here. And here is the reservoir for the cooling system. It's got a float valve and water supply line to it. And then these are controlled by timers. So they come on every morning at 9 o'clock, which is in advance of the circulating fans. So the walls get wet first. And then when the temperature reaches the set temperature on the thermostats, then the fans will come on. And they exhaust the hot air and pull in fresh air through each of these cooling walls, which there are 5 of them. And then this is the temperature in front of the wall. So there's almost over a 10 degree difference. So 78 here, and it was 98, I guess, or 90 something there on the other one. So they're definitely effective. There'll be a fan on this end, so I'll have fans on diagonal corners to circulate the air. There are the fans, the exhaust fans. And then on the south wall I have 3 of the cooling walls. There was quite a dead space in the center that was holding a lot of heat, so I added a 3rd wall on the south side to address that. Then we also have just passive ventilation in the ceiling to allow the hot air to escape, as well as shade cloth of various percentage of obscuration. And if it gets real hot, she'll pull these black cloths, which I think are 40% obscuration. And then on the top, you could probably see through there, there's some white, which is a 20% obscuration. So through a combination of ventilation, cooling walls, exhaust fans, and then just passive air escaping through the peak, those are the tools that she'll have to control the temperature in here. And if it's cooler outside, obviously you can just open the doors or just turn on the exhaust fans manually and pull the cool air in. But the goal is to keep the greenhouse somewhere under 95. And it's super hard to keep it below 85. But through, like I said, the circulation and the temperature of the air coming into the room through the wet walls, does a pretty good job of it. Definitely better than without. These are the exhaust fans, one on each end. And then the auto position, like I said, is again controlled by that thermostat. There's a thermostat on each end. So in the morning, the east end gets hot quicker and it turns on. And then about a half hour later, the west fans catch up and the temperature gets hot on the west side. So there's tremendous temperature variation between north and south side, east and west side, which is why the circulating fans are so necessary. And then, like I said, if you stand in front or between the cooling walls on the north and south side, the temperatures are pretty mild by comparison. So that's it. That's what I've been doing for the last couple of weeks. Now we'll see if the strawberries grow. Here's an exterior view of those wet walls. And I framed them out so that in the winter time we'll be able to just screw the greenhouse plastic sections that I cut out of there. We'll just be able to screw those right on over the top of the wet walls. So we'll drain the water, turn the water off, and then just reinstall the greenhouse walls that came out right over the entire wet wall to winterize that. White tape is just some weatherproof tape to seal up some gaps. We've done that pretty much throughout the whole greenhouse so that any air that does come in is forced to come in through the wet walls, so we can optimize the airflow and the cooling.